For me, even if I never met you again, the Golden Age, the first film you finished, seemed to me to just validate all of us. And you didn't just have famous, famous, famous people in that one. It's all about the love of the theater.
I was sitting next to, by the way, Comden and Green were on my right, and they weren't Comden and Green yet.
We were making the rounds of the offices, because that's what you did in those days.
I was just an unemployed fellow.
We had to write to give ourselves material to perform, because we couldn't afford to buy material. So we just, as we say, we chipped in and bought a pencil and started to write.
And that's where we, down on our luck, actors would meet. And one of them was Jimmy Dean. And Jimmy and I became friends, and Jimmy and I started making the rounds together, keep each other company for the rejections, which were often.
You usually didn't get very nice treatment from the secretaries.
I said, I'd like to see Alfred Lutlin von Tam, please. Do you have an appointment? I said, why are you so mean to everybody? She said, I'm not. I said, yes, you are. You bark.
They brush you off and say, yes, well, Mr. So-and-so is busy right now.
It was so discouraging. I would go into office after office after office, and it's not an ego builder, that process.
I don't think you even left picture and resume in those days, but you left your name and hopefully got an appointment.
Then in the evening, you had a bite, fell flat into bed, and started again early the next morning.
I mean, the idea of doing that now is ludicrous. I passed a pile of 8x10s, you call them, and with resumes on the back at the theater where I'm working now. It was about this thick, and on top of it, it said, shred. Wow.
And they're not film clips. They're deeply felt opinions and memories. And you caught them, and I love you for it.
Oh my God, Marian, you're gonna destroy me. Thank you. Can I sit next to you for 1 second so we have a picture for the press kit?
Yes, darling.
We'll both be in tears.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Oh, Marian.
Oh, darling. I brought something I was going to read to you.
Oh.
This is something that Tennessee Williams said.
Oh, should I step back and get this on camera?
I think you should,
I
darling.
think so. We're good.
We are. These are words that Tennessee Williams said to a writer, a young writer at the time, James Grissom, and they will appear in his book, which will be published next year. There is always the eventuality of worthiness when people who love theater gather together to value what is strongest about its nature, which is its welcoming embrace of the altogether unique people who are singularly responsible for creating it. I was once produced in Broadway theaters, and now I find myself working in church basements, but the essential love of theater is present even in the most modest of circumstances, and is probably purest when compromised or minimized. We work and we fail. We work and we love. We work and we dream. The essential thing is that we work. If we are true to ourselves and to our partners in this remarkable art of theater, we are rewarded. And it is not the prize you remember, or the parties, or the willing flesh, but the congregation of spirits who worked toward your shared goal and occasionally looked over at you and let you know that you were noticed and that you mattered. Isn't that extraordinary?
It's absolutely beautiful and inspiring.
It is.
Especially the part about the effect is maximized in the reduced circumstances or minimal circumstances.
Absolutely. It's probably purest when compromised or minimized. We work and we fail. We work and we love. We work and we dream. The essential thing is that we work. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Oh,
and it's the last thing I did before I came here. I just thought, I've got to bring something to him. And I thought I'd bring something by Robert Eben Jones, whom I adored. And I thought, no, I've got to bring the thing by Tennessee.
Isn't it funny? The last thing you did before you went out the door was the Tennessee, and what I was doing as you're on your way here was the Lorette Taylor and the Tallulah for you.
Oh my God.
We were both doing those things.
Yeah, giving little gifts. Can I put my hand around you this
Oh,
way?
I would love it.
Okay.
Not household
Marian.
Marian, darling. She's the last, you know? She's the last of that kind of grand actress, isn't she?
I'm so happy for her that in her late years she has become so esteemed. The maid.
And whenever she sees her, she goes, darling, you know?
She doesn't, when she sees me, she doesn't say, Ben, how are you? She goes,
how are you? That is perfect, Marian. That is perfect. You totally nailed her. She says, don't tell me that. Darling, you know I know that.
The single play that had the greatest effect on me was the production of The Three Sisters, directed by Guthrie McClintock. And in it was Catherine Cornell, Judith Anderson, Ruth Gordon. It was a perfect experience.
Did you ever see Stage Door Canteen? Do you know the scene I'm getting to? I'm sure you do.
If it's Catherine Cornell, I know it by heart.
You're Catherine Cornell, aren't you?
Yes, how'd you know?
Well, our dramatic coach at school has your picture. He said we hadn't lived until we'd seen you play Juliet.
She does the scene from Romeo and Juliet with Lon McAllister, and she has an orange in her hand, and it's just so sweet.
Do not swear at all, or if thou wilt, swear by thy gracious self, which is the God of my idolatry, and I'll believe thee.
If my heart's dear love...
Do not swear. Though I joy in thee, I have no joy in this contract tonight. It is too rash, too unadvised, too sudden, too like the lightning that does cease to be. Everyone can say it lightens. Sweet, good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night till it be morrow.
Hey, what's holding up the line?
A little unrationed ham being served. We're holding up the works, Romeo.
And of course, she was very shy about film and did almost none. She never made a major motion picture, and she was wonderful. But I wish I could say it by heart. There's an amazing speech in a play by Peter Schaffer called The Gift of the Gorgons, and it hasn't been done in New York. And the man in the play says his faith is the theater. And he says it's quiescent now, and people don't remember its greatness. But in the times of the Greeks, when they could see the burnished shield of Athena and the gods come onto the stage and life and death occur there, it was as important to them as breathing, and who knows, maybe it'll happen again. It's quiescent now. The actual word is in the speech, but maybe it will rise again. And then the man says, and maybe I will be one of the priests of that theater and make it rise. I think we all believe that. We have to. We have to.
That's beautifully put. Your addendum to it, too. But that's why I'm making this film.
Yes, of course.
Because we do believe it, and I think it's important people see what it was, so the bar is raised of what you continue to create.
Exactly. In fact, there's no bar. We don't know where it can go. We really don't know where it can go.
That's true. It should be so high that it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
You have to shoot that high.
Exactly.
Is there anything you wish I had asked you?
No, I just have to thank you. It's like going to a great kind of a, what'd you say, a table where all the wonderful people you've ever known are sitting, and you've become them, and I'm with them, and my whole life you've got now.
Your whole life.
Yes, sweetheart.
Do you mind if I sit next to you for 1 second and get a photo with you?
No.
Do you mind very much? We can look once there and smile and say cheese at the lens.
You?
At the lens here.
I read that you shouldn't say cheese, you should say Thursday.
Oh, really?
Now say it, and your mouth will...
Thursday.
You see?
Oh, it goes
you
over.
end up with a smile.
Thursday. Didn't you know that I could learn from you? Okay. You are wonderful. You really are.
And I think you bring people back to life through this film. And I think if you love someone, they never die for you. Well, there are people in the golden age that will never die, for people who've never even known them. And so, for me, what you've done is something extraordinary.